Now, top political figureheads who joined the demonstration were unanimous in their demand for renegotiation of the U.S.-Ghana military agreement, while also bemoaning President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's silence on the subject. The leaders of the People's National Convention and All People's Congress were among the notable personalities to throw their weight behind the Ghana First Patriotic Front. Amidst chanting of war songs, the leaders warned the hugely patronized protest march will be replicated in other parts of Ghana.
This is a demonstration that President Nana Akufo-Addo cannot take citizens for a ride. The Americans' presence here will give them access to our radio spectrum. What that means is that even when President Akufo-Addo is doing his lovey talk with Rebecca Addo, the nation of the United States of America will be able to monitor that conversation. From now on until the day that President Akufo-Addo realized that our independence is not for sale, we shall be on the street until we achieve that dream.
We are living in a shithole. Yes, we are living in a shithole. But we don't want American shit to fill our hole. No. We are saying America should take their America. We Ghanaians will take our Ghana. Is that a problem? Is that a problem? $20 million. What is $20 million? What is it? They should come and I will give them the $20 million. I have refused my $20 million. Now I am going to take $1 million and give it to my lawyers, and my lawyers will revert the case. Who lose? Not be them lose up. So Toby, when NDC accepted Gitmo 2, they were saying that NDC has brought in Gitmo 2 and they were against it. Today, if the Americans can come with their aircraft, they will bring thousands of Gitmo 2 and we cannot say anything. Am I right? They will take away thousands of Gitmo 2 and we will not say anything. They will make our country a transit of terrorists. Can we live with terrorists in this country? They should come for the 20 million. I am ready to give it to them. Thank you very much.
Ghana, 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 say yeah. Speech. We were told to be citizens and not spectators. Today, we are proving that we are citizens. We will defend the constitution of this nation forever and ever. We will not allow people to use rules and funny tricks to deceive the people of Ghana. We know the contents of this agreement, and any agreement that is for cooperation must be beneficial for all. If it is a true cooperation, why should people be looking for immunity in such a way that we cannot demand justice even in the international courts? Why should this not be executed before it came to Parliament for ratification? We are looking out for Ghana, and we will not allow our sovereignty to be undermined by anybody. The people are saying that this is only a previous agreement. If you have made a mistake in the past with an agreement and you have a chance to correct it, must you repeat your mistake? We demand a renegotiation or removal of this agreement. We do not agree to it. We never agree to this. Chobai! Chobai!
Hey! Hey! Before I proceed, in the progressive world, when we are fighting battles, some comrades will fall. But when they fall, we don't stop to bury them. Yes, sir. We walk over their dead bodies and continue with the mission till victory is won. Then we come back to count the dead. Comrade Kwakwanyi Deho has been arrested. We did all we could to make sure that he will not be subjected to this brazen illegality. Yes, sir. The enemies wanted this program to be thwarted. So we decided to leave him, continue with the battle, and when we win, nobody will keep Kwakwanyi Deho anywhere. And so it was important for us to attend this function and make sure that we win. And when we win, it will be a vindication for the arrest of my deputy, Kwakwanyi Deho. His fight wouldn't be in vain.
And let's move on. The Wakago branch of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union of the Trades Union Congress has warned its members will be compelled to increase haulage and passenger fares if fuel prices are not reduced. Addressing a news conference, the Industrial Relations Officer of the Upper West branch of the GPRTU, Alhaji Nuhur Mahama, said failure by government to reduce fuel prices before the implementation of the axle load will negatively affect their operations. He said their demand is intended to enable them meet the cost of maintenance and fuel costs of vehicles, as well as their own personal needs. JoyNews Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam sat through the press conference and now reports.
The Ministry of Roads and Highways announced that starting April 1, the implementation of the axle load control program will take off. The axle load program seeks to reduce overloading of heavy vehicles to save road infrastructure and also reduce road traffic crashes. Members of the Wakago branch of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union of Trades Union Congress agrees with the ministry but believes certain issues must be considered before the implementation takes off. Among the demands, the Upper West Industrial Relations Officer of GPRTU of TUC, Alhaji Nuhur Mahama, wants government to reduce fuel prices before the implementation of the axle load program.
We are therefore of the view that before reducing the axle load on the road, you should first, before the rest, ensure some sanity and stability in fuel prices. You have to reduce the construction of many speed ramps on major highways in order to reduce road accidents and extend the lifespan of our haulage vehicles. The Ministry of Roads and Highways to do proper maintenance on our road network by tarring, retarring, and filling the numerous potholes on our roads. The Ministry, in collaboration with the Ministry of Interior, to reduce many number of police barriers on our roads, which also end up extorting monies from our drivers, and also go ahead to ensure security and safety on our roads and reduce the number of highway robberies on our roads.
He said majority of them will have their vehicles parked if the program starts without consideration to their request, because that will defeat government's agenda of strengthening the private sector. Over 95% of all haulage and passenger movement are done by the private sector.
If these are not done before the implementation of the reduction of axle load on our roads, we shall be compelled, and I repeat, if these are not done before the implementation of the reduction of axle load, we shall be compelled to increase haulage and passenger fare to enable us meet our cost of maintenance and fuel costs, as well as catering for our families.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam.
Power consumers in the Ashanti region are being promised stable and reliable power supply beginning from September. The Electricity Company of Ghana says 65 contracts have already been signed for system improvement in the Ashanti region. The managing director of ECG in the Ashanti region, Samuel Boachi, gave the assurance at a ceremony in Kumasi to unveil newly procured equipment at the cost of some $21 million. Love FM's Erastus Asaridonko has more.
585 distribution transformers, 15,000 poles, and 7,000 kilometers of conductors are among the package. The investment is part of a $70 million electricity distribution system reinforcement and extension project sourced from a loan and grant by the African Development Fund. It is expected to reduce distribution system losses, reduce outages, and improve voltage level across beneficiary areas in the Ashanti region. Managing Director of ECG, Samuel Boachi, explains further.
It is also to introduce to you a very important project being undertaken in conjunction with the Government of Ghana and our international development agencies. The funding for the completed projects was from our donor partners through the Government of Ghana and from ECG's internal donated funds. This massive investment has greatly improved on our operational efficiency, enhanced customer care, improved system reliability and security to our cherished customers. To ensure that the project is implemented promptly to meet the imposed deadline of the third quarter of 2018, 65 contracts have been signed for the execution of the project. The project, when completed, will improve on the performance of ECG distribution network in the Ashanti region. The major scope of works involved are the injection and installation of 600 distribution transformers to meet new demand and relieve overloaded substations. Construction of about 2,000 circuit kilometers for capacity upgrade, network extension to meet new demand.
Deputy Minister of Energy William Oreku Edu noted the expansion work is part of a nationwide transmission system upgrade.
Thanks to the JEDAP, since its inception to date, the following 4 projects' objectives have either been significantly met or on course to be met. These objectives include 1. Sector and institutional development, 2. Distribution improvements, 3. Electricity access and renewable energy development, and finally, transmission system upgrade. The JEDAP's development objective is to improve the operational efficiency of the electricity distribution system and increase the population's access to electricity.
Reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asaridonko, Kumasi.
As government works to implement its flagship program, Planting for Food and Jobs, a soil science and water engineering expert at the University of Cape Coast is cautioning government that the policy will fail should irrigation farming and the creation of dams be ignored. According to Professor Livingstone Sam Amwa, forgetting about the construction of dams and not thinking irrigation in the agricultural sector in Ghana will spell doom for food security. He was delivering his inaugural lecture at the University of Cape Coast.
The professor of soil and water engineering lauded government's One Village, One Dam project and was optimistic the project will provide water all year round for farmers without farmers having to rely solely on rainfall to meet the water requirement of crops. He believes the policy is a meaningful way of enhancing food security in the country and encouraged the need for concrete steps to ensure its fruition. While encouraging diversification of crops for household consumption, Professor Amwa also charged government to operationalize its policies on irrigation to salvage the country from famine and other extreme forms of hunger.
It has been recognized, as has been said in the abstract, that any country that depends on agricultural production as basis for industrial development is most likely to fail if irrigation is not part of the agricultural development plan. Indeed, in some parts of the world, irrigation remains the dividing line between abundant food and no food at all. In irrigation, we are interested in constructing dams over rivers or waters, that is, damming the waters and storing the water so that it can be delivered through the irrigation system for meeting the water requirements of crops. If we continue to rely on rainfall as our main source of meeting the crop water requirements, then we will be risking our future. That is, we'll be damming our future. However, the country faces significant variability in water resources, both spatially and temporally, such as periodic floods and droughts, and uneven distribution of annual precipitation that on average is about 283.2 billion meter cube per year. The dependence on rain-fed agriculture means that even though production of the major staple food crops may be adequate in most years or some years, seasonal food insecurity is widespread.
Professor Livingston Sam Amwa explains, for Ghana and Africa as a whole to achieve its fullest potential in food security, a certain level of a new crop of entrepreneurial leaders dedicated to the continent's economic improvement through the advancement in science, technology and engineering is required. His inaugural lecture was on ensuring food security, damming the waters or damming our future. Richard Kwejonyako, Joy News, Cape Coast.
And before we go, district and municipal chief executives in the Upper East region have signed performance contracts with their coordinating directors, all in the bid to ensure that they deliver all planned assembly projects on schedule. Under the contract, all the MDCs were expected to fully execute at least 3 priority projects in their district this year. However, some of the chief executives say revenue mobilization would be a major challenge for them. The Upper East Regional Correspondent, Albert Sorry, has more.
The performance contracts were signed between municipal and district chief executives and the coordinating directors in their various municipalities and districts. Under the contracts, targets have been set for various departments in the assemblies to meet by the end of this year. Upper East Regional Minister Roxin Bukari signed on behalf of government as the supervising authority.
Ghana today, you know, His Excellency the President is talking about going beyond aid. It means we have to mobilize our own revenue. So we as chief executives and coordinating directors, we have to put this at the back of our mind and see what we can do. We need to get data. Data on everything. Human beings, data on buildings, where we can get revenue. And these billboards, the tall ones, if you are lucky and you have tall ones in your municipality, you have to make sure that you get something. Or your district. You have to pay something to your district. Anything in your district, at least, should be paid something. Let us make sure that the billboards all over, dotted by Peters and whatever, they should pay something to the assemblies.
According to some of the chief executives, they are expected to supervise the district coordinating directors to ensure that every development project that has been planned for this year is executed within time. Peter Ayembesa is district chief executive for Bongo.
The coordinating directors are responsible for the entire district, and they are accountable to we, the DCEs. So what we have to do is to monitor, supervise, to ensure that all the things they told us they are going to do, to ensure that our people get the needed benefit, they are able to do them by the end of the year. We have an opportunity to review these targets at half a year. By middle of the year, we have an opportunity to sit with them to see whether all the things they said to do, they'll be able to do them or not.
Some districts and municipalities have been identified as areas with growing markets and booming trade activities, and it is the expectation of the Upper East Regional Coordinating Council that the chief executives of such districts and municipalities will put measures in place to raise more revenue for government. For example, the regional minister, Roxin Bukari, charged the MCE for Boko, Hajia Hawa Nichema, to aspire to develop the Boko municipality to become as industrious as Tema in the Greater Accra region. The Boko MCE told JoyNews that the task is achievable, but added that the major challenge will be revenue mobilization.
It can be one of the Temas in the Upper East. It was once one, but because of conflicts, everything deteriorated. Mobilizing these resources is not always easy, especially the collection of this revenue on the part of these houses, the rent for houses, and some structures like the kiosks and all the rest. So that is what we are targeting right now.
It appears that the issue of difficulty in mobilizing sufficient revenue cuts across all the districts and municipalities. The district chief executives for Nabdam, Boku West and Bulsa South, as well as the municipal chief executive for Kasna Nankana, all told JoyNews that they believed they could achieve the targets in their performance contracts, but they all raised concerns about difficulty in revenue mobilization.
We have to liaise with our area councils. In my district, we have 3 area councils. That is the Zolva, Nangudi, and Sakute. And I went and met all the area council chiefs, women, queen mothers, youth, and all that. We sat down. Then we put levers to all things that will be pertinent to help generate income. And I think this time it's better.
We have some organizations that are also helping the district. We have Bishop, we have UNICEF, we have World Visions. The IGF has improved, and in fact, it has helped the assembly, and we are able to run the assembly. So with the NGOs that are into the district, with the common fund, we will be able to achieve our priority projects. And then,
you know, there's most of the projects that we want to carry out, it depends on the resources, the inflows that we have, vis-a-vis what we get from our internally generated funds, and then what we get from the Common Fund Secretariat. And so the fluidity of these funds is what would propel our targets faster. When that gets slower, then obviously it will also slow down what we intend to achieve at the end of the day.
People just feel that, or they have the perception that the revenue collectors who come to take the money spend the money. And the revenue collectors themselves are not always able to convince the people that yes, we're actually taking this tax to make sure that we develop our roads, develop our clinics, develop our schools, and provide furniture for our students. So it becomes so difficult for even the general public to believe them. So what we are doing is that we have entered into an agreement with Nabina Community Radio, where they have given us 1 hour every Tuesday to sensitize the people as the need to pay their revenue.
By the end of this year, all district and municipal chief executives in the Upper East region are expected to execute all projects that have been planned under various sectors, with security, revenue mobilization, education, and health key among the target areas. For JoyNews, Albert Sori, reporting from Bolgatanga.
And that's it for the news. We have a lot more news as you get interactive with us on Facebook, sending us your messages as you also watch us live through our channel on YouTube. We'll be reviewing the newspapers. Myself, Mamavi Osabwaji, would also be taking a look at some of the various online portals, notably myjoyonline.com and the rest of them. Do stay on. We'll be right back.